Oh, and I don't know if you're sharing the sound, but I can no longer hear your music from
Oh
before.
yeah, I stopped it.
Okay, making sure. Thanks.
Yep. Okay, so welcome guys to our second interest meeting. We are super excited that you guys can join us here. Um, like I said, this is our second interest meeting, and we had a really good meeting, the first one, where there was just a lot of good sharings and different excitement around the course that we'll be offering next semester. So, New Eve is a women's discipleship course that's created by navigators, and the uh, the way we were introduced to this was through the Nobleman Men's Discipleship course that the guys at our GMU Fellowship have started 2 semesters ago, and it had just such a great impact. It has such a good result, and just the testimonies, if you haven't heard already, from people like Matt, Jacob, Nahom, Riley, and such have just been really good. And I know it's been something that's been helping them in their relationship with God. So that's something that we're hoping will continue, especially with you guys as we start the next semester. And so with that, I wanted to hand over the slide to Tiani to kind of talk about New Eve and maybe even just explain like why is it called New Eve and the name of it. So take it away, Tiani.
Yeah, thank you. I think I have a little blurb on the next slide if you don't mind
Yeah.
advancing. Thanks. So, yeah, like April said, we're really excited about women's discipleship. And from our first session, there were about 13 other girls who are also interested, and then a few more who have expressed not being able to come. So I think with this focus on single gender, getting deeper in the word, getting deeper with one another, and connecting with God more, we're really excited about this. And many people have asked, like, why is it called New Eve? And we saw this little blurb inside the materials for it, and it says that in the garden, Eve, she had a chance to trust and obey God's design for her life, but she ended up not taking it. And instead, she did what she wanted and suffered greatly because of it. And as you know, there are many consequences. A new Eve, so someone who goes through this course, is to learn from not only her mistakes, but also the rest of the Bible so that we don't repeat the same things. Um, a new Eve will do her best to entrust herself to God's love and purpose for her and finding great joy and freedom. So it's something to aspire to. Yeah. And then the agenda for today, we'll be going over some statistics, the New Eve Creed, and we'll go more into what each of these different things mean. The time commitment that we'll ask of you guys, the key topics that the course will go through, the cost, and then next steps for how to get involved. So for stats first, um, some of these things are like, yeah, I guess very close to home for me. So we zoomed in on the media and self-esteem ones. So 8 hours per day is how much, like on average, at the time of the content creation that women spend surfing the web and TV. And then even this one, 6 in 10 women look at porn monthly. And as self-esteem, 7 in 10 women believe that they are not good enough or don't measure up in some way. And these ones I could relate in a certain way to all of these struggles with media, with purity, with self-esteem, and believing about myself a lot of different lies instead of what God says about me. And so we just wanted to kind of not really normalize and say it's okay, but to say it's okay to talk about our different struggles. And there are some girls who are part of this course who've shared, like, in the past, they've been part of groups that have helped with addictions or self-esteem and other things. And having a safe space to talk about these things and um, do it sooner rather than later helps you to be able to feel known. And personally, from my college experience, as I shared different things that I was struggling with, I felt like, wow, if I can be known and loved by these people, it helps me understand that I'm known and loved by God even more. So we'll touch more on this with the key topics of the course. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Thank you, Tiani. So yeah, we're gonna move on to the creed, and this creed is something that we, as New Eve course, will be memorizing every day. And the idea is that at the end of the course, we would be having all of these words just engraved in our mind as well as our hearts, and hopefully also into our lives. And so I wanted to actually take the opportunity to read aloud the creed, and to kind of discuss, like, is this something that we want to aspire to? Is this something that we want to live our lives into? And so with that, I will read it for us and you can follow along. And so here we go. As a new Eve, I am a beloved daughter of God through faith in Jesus Christ, and I submit myself wholly to Him. I will strive to abide daily in the Lord and His Word. I will use each season of my life to glorify God and pursue knowing Him better. I will choose not to worry, but will trust in God's care for me. In faith, I will resist the temptation to control the circumstances and people around me. I will not gossip, but will speak well of others and be a trustworthy confidant. I will choose to forgive quickly and uproot bitterness with love. I will not compare myself with others because my worth comes from the Lord who loves me perfectly. I will choose contentment in every situation, whether married or single. If I marry, I will respect my husband and be a joy to lead. If God gives me children, I will trust Him for their needs and nurture their love for Christ. I will assume responsibility for the souls God puts in my path, praying for them and making known to them the gospel of life. I will seek the wisdom and counsel of older women and will invest in the lives of younger women, helping them raise up more generations of disciple makers. I am a new Eve and I am secure in the love of my Father God. I am a new Eve, and by His grace, I will bring life to the world. So that is our creed. And I actually wanted to take a moment, if we can just drop in the chat some phrase, some words, something that struck you from reading this creed. Maybe it's something you like, maybe it's something that you want to aspire to. Anything that struck you, let's just drop it in the chat and we can kind of share in that way. And if you like any of the uh what do you call it? Whatever people wrote, you guys could thumbs up it, I think. Can I not? Just kidding.
Yeah, I only figured out how to do the heart on my on my reaction. I also cannot heart someone's comment.
Maybe it's because I have the old version of Zoom. I have seen it in others.
Hmm. I wish I could heart
Yeah.
all these.
Yeah, no, these are all really good sharings, and I plus one every one of these. I think something that
That
I, oh, sorry. something that I think I really resonated with is yeah, comparing myself and choosing not to worry. I think those are the two big things that I often struggle with. And so this is definitely a creed that I aspire to live out. It's something that I've been working on as, I'm definitely older than you guys, so I've been Christian a little bit longer. And in the sanctification process, God has definitely helped me in this area, but I'm looking forward to how this material will help me even further to live this out. So, yeah, I'm really glad that you guys can resonate and or like any of these phrases, and I hope that this is something that you guys can aspire to, whether or not you take this course or not, because it's definitely something that I think would be a good place for you spiritually as well as just in your life that you if you live out like this in this way, then your life will be just so much more full and it will be just yeah, just a lot more, I think, fulfilling. And so, yeah, thank you all for sharing. So I just wanted to kind of talk about the expectation as well as the schedule for what New Eve will look like. So this is a 10-week course, excuse me. It is a 10-week course, and we are expecting about 5 hours a week commitment. And so this includes a daily devotion as well as daily accountability calls. Those necessarily will not be taking like 5 hours of your time. I think a good chunk of these 5 hours a week will be our weekly session that we'll be having together, where it will be a time where we would um, listen to content, kind of like a Bible study and have sharing times. So um, really think of it as a weekly commitment to like a Bible study along with daily devotion as well as some assignments in between that I think just would be really beneficial for you spiritually and just also relationally. And so I think it's a win all around. In terms of the specifics of what those would be, we can talk more about that later, but that's just kind of the overall expectation of what New Eve will look like. Some big events that I wanted to highlight from this 10-week course are so the first is Taste and See, and that is our first session that we're going to be having, and that is at the beginning of our spring semester. So this is a Tuesday, January 28th is a Tuesday, and it's our first meeting, and it's an opportunity for you guys to taste and see what our New Eve course will look like in the rest of the 10 weeks. It is not an opt-in for you guys to be committed, but it's an opportunity for you to check it out and decide whether or not you want to commit. The next thing is the launch trip, which would be happening the weekend of the Taste and See. So January 31st to February 1st is Friday to Saturday. And this would be an overnight trip somewhere kind of close by, but far enough that it feels like sort of like a retreat. And it would be really fun. It's an opportunity for us to build relationships with one another, as well as getting a better vision of what New Eve will look like as we launch into the course. And so this launch trip would actually be a way for you to put your foot on the ground and say, yeah, I'm gonna commit to this course. It's an opportunity for you to sign a commitment that you will be committed to completing all of the assignments for the course and be part of New Eve. Um, Boost trip is something that we'll be doing midway of our course. It's an opportunity for us to encourage and strengthen one another, especially as we persevere through the course. And so it's just there for you guys to kind of get an idea of some outside, events that will be happening besides the weekly content that I mentioned before. Thrive Week is going to be kind of the culmination of New Eve, and it is going to be a 5-day um, uh, event, so to speak, where we'll be living together in a common space where we'll be doing life together and we would be doing content and doing hangout and doing all these different really fun activities that I think will really culminate to us becoming New Eve at the end of the course. So, and also to celebrate with a banquet. So that is kind of I guess the finale of New Eve. And that would be happening around beginning of April, which when we looked at the calendar, if we follow by this timeline perfectly, we would finish a week before Good Friday and Easter. And then it would give you guys a couple of weeks after that to study for finals and finish up your semester. So I think this would be really a good timeline for you guys to be part of without being too stressed about having it being completely taken up in your semester. But it is taking up a good amount of your semester because it is 10 weeks. Before I move on, I wanted to open it up for you guys. You guys can unmute yourself and ask questions specific to the schedule or any of the expectations that I mentioned. All right, it doesn't sound
So,
like.
real quick, last time someone had a question about like classes. Ideally, we will be somewhere that is close enough where you guys could get to school and go to class and then come back. Yeah.
Oh, you mean for Thrive Week?
For Thrive Week. Thank
Mhm.
you. Yes.
Yeah.
Thrive.
Yeah, we won't be living too far off campus, honestly. Yeah, I think you guys, if you guys are worried about getting to school and stuff, we'll definitely coordinate to make sure you guys are on campus on time for your classes and such. Great. All right, I'll hand it over to you, Tiani.
Yeah, thanks. So last time I forced public participation so that it wasn't just my voice talking. If you guys don't mind, I'd love if we just went one by one reading the different topics. So, um, yeah, let's try it out. So, I'll go first. Then on my screen, just left, right, there's April, Grace, and Del, then Jada. If you guys don't mind, we'll just go one by one reading. So, number one is identity in Christ and intimacy with Christ.
Number 2, trusting God.
Number 3, wisdom and discernment.
Number 4, lordship.
Number 5, understanding God's design for women.
6, mentoring and being mentored.
7, relating to men and other women well.
8, healthy understanding of submission.
9, evangelism.
Number 10, leadership skills.
11, consistency in the scriptures.
12, a passion for spiritual generations.
Thank you. Thanks for participating. So these are going to be all the topics that we'll cover in New Eve. And so, like April kind of alluded to before, there's like a video component, there's some sharing that we'll be doing. And I personally am really excited about how the topics cover like a breadth of things that we believe will not only be a blessing to you while you're in college, but then also as you adapt to life outside of college. So thinking about relationships beyond those here, getting married, understanding, yeah, that kind of stuff will be helpful in the workplace, in your family life, and so on. And so something that we'd like to do is pause here and also maybe share in the chat for each of you. If you could choose one that you feel like, hey, I'm pretty strong in this, and that's something that I want to recognize. And then two, this is choose another topic. I think I can get stronger in this, or this is a weak area for me that I'm excited about growing in. So let's go ahead and spend some time thinking about that and writing it in the chat. I didn't write out my number 12. It's okay if you guys just want to put your number. Okay, actually, I realized it's coming close to the time we said we would end. So for the sake of time, we'll move on to the next one. But feel free, if you're still in the middle of typing, you can still hit send even when we move on from the screen. But thank you guys for sharing. So the cost of New Eve up front, it will be $40, and this will cover the cost for printing all 12 sessions of the content inside, well, like a binder or some sort of um, pamphlet or workbook that we'll be going through. And then we will create a New Eve sweatshirt. And so we're really excited about that. And then all of the costs for the trips that April mentioned that will be happening, Launch, Boost, and Thrive Week, all of that will be ad hoc, depending on how many people, as well as how much money we spend on food. So those costs will come up as they come up. And we do not want costs to be a deterrence. If there is a conversation you guys would like to have with us about a deferred payment plan or scholarship or something like that, please let us know. Once again, we don't want costs to be the reason why someone is going to say, maybe not this year. So definitely recommend, yeah, reaching out to one of us if needed.
Thank you, Tiani. Yeah, just to add on to this, yeah, so all the trips that I mentioned besides Taste and See, if you are committed, or I guess all of them, if you are committing to New Eve, actually all of those trips are required. And so, yeah, if cost is definitely an issue, and of course with all the trips, we're going to be trying to minimize costs as much as possible. So, yeah, please do let us know and speak up if it becomes something of a burden, because we don't want it to be. And so just wanted to put that out there because, yeah, what's up front 40 may not be the full cost of New Eve because of the trips that we'll be having. So next steps, to stay in the loop, and I know this is just an interest meeting, so I know this isn't necessarily you guys committing to New Eve, but if this is something that you guys want to continue looking into and pray about and think about before deciding to join us on our launch trip, you can use that QR code, use your phone to join our GroupMe. There's already a handful of girls there, and we are going to be starting to send out information. It's been pretty dead, so if you join, it's going to be really, really empty because there's nothing happening. But that's because we were waiting for this interest meeting to end for us to start sending out information. So what's coming your way will be two things. We are going to be sending out a inventory Google form, which is a way for you to kind of answer questions vulnerably and honestly about just where you're at so we can get a gauge of where people are at. As well as the second thing is, well, we do have a brochure related to New Eve that has most of what you saw on the slides in a nicely brochure format. However, we don't have it printed out, so we will send out a PDF version of it so you guys can have it on hand, and it does detail some information that might be useful to you. Tiani also dropped the link to the GroupMe in case you guys can't use the QR code. But yeah, this is pretty much it. We're super excited. One thing I do want to note here before we end is that I know we said that you don't need to commit until launch trip, which isn't until end of what do you call it? End of January. However, due to us needing to print out binders as well as the merch, if you want to lock in, you're like, okay, I saw the material, I'm in, I don't need to wait until launch trip to be committed to this. You can let us know by January 6th of yeah, like basically the first week of the new year to let us know if you want to lock it in and give us the payment. And then we'll get the merch as well as the binder ready for you by the launch trip. So you'll have, those materials by the end of the month. So that's just there for you guys. All that information I just shared with you, I will drop it in the GroupMe chat so you don't have to remember everything that I just said. But I did want to kind of share that because we did decide on that date recently. So yeah, with that, we're excited and thank you for joining, guys. This was definitely less than ideal because it's on Zoom and we can't see you guys, and being in person was just a lot more fun, but we can work with what we got, and I'm glad that you guys at least came to hear out what New Eve will be about. Any questions? I know we talked a lot, and I'll show my face now. So yeah, any other questions? We have 8 minutes on my Zoom because this is not a paid Zoom account. All right. Well, thank you, girls, for joining. And if you do have questions, you can always reach out to one of us by text. And yeah, we'll be sending stuff through GroupMe. So really excited to see you guys later.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Have a good
Bye.
night. I will stop my recording here.